Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I am Adebola Adedugba. The top story at this hour. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike derided Rivers State Governor Fubara's camp for defecting to All Progressives Party. 6 dead from Marburg viral disease in Rwanda. Egypt refuses to free jailed activist Ala Abdel Fattah over false news propagation. And details shortly. Let's begin by telling you that Christian faithful across Nigeria gathered in the nation's capital, Abuja, for the interdenominational service of Nigeria's 64th Independence Anniversary celebration. In attendance were senior government officials, service chiefs, and Nigerians across several denominations. And this is part of the lineup of activities to celebrate Nigeria's 64th Independence Day celebration. President Bola Tinubu had earlier ordered a low-key celebration, according to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. And now to politics, where Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has mocked supporters of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, who defected from PDP to APC ahead of the October 5 local government election. After Wike's loyalists took control of the PDP in Rivers following the Congress that held last month, Fubara reportedly directed his loyalists to contest the forthcoming election under APP. Speaking at a reception organized for him by a group, the Job People's Assembly in Port Harcourt, Wike expressed surprise that members of PDP loyal to the governor could defect to APP. He boasted that when the time comes, he would teach APP and its members a big lesson in the state. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to accept and recognize Olushola Nehemiah and Ezekiel Awude as governorship and deputy governorship candidates of the Labour Party for the Ondo State Governorship election slated for November 16, 2024. Justice Emeka Nwete gave the order while delivering judgment in a suit filed by the duo against the Independent National Electoral Commission. The Federal High Court judge held that the second primary election conducted by the Labour Party, which produced Nehemiah and Awude as Labour Party candidates, is valid and must be upheld by the electoral body.
We have canvassed our issues in court without descending into the arena of media trial. But yet, the media have been very objective in their report of the incident that led to today's judgment. I can only thank God for a well-considered judgment by His Lordship and by the judiciary as a whole. Well, it's an internal affair. It's a family affair of the party. There can be any party where you see where there is no crisis. That party itself is not worth it. It's not a party that the people, give any form of regard. When you see crisis in a party, it means that party.
And low voters turn out to march Saturday's local government elections conducted in 326 political wards and 5,891 polling units across 21 local government areas of the state. Our correspondent, Austin Azu, who monitored the exercise, reports that the poll is the first in 10 years to elect chairmen and councillors at the grassroots of governance in the state. Here is his report.
As early as 8 a.m. on Saturday, Onitsha, the economic nerve center of Anambra State, showed no signs of movement restriction in relation to the local government election, as activities were as busy as any other day. At about 9:30 a.m., Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission's presiding officer and other officials were at Ward 001, Unit 006 in Agwata local government area. There were no intended voters on ground until this man rang the school bell to invite the villagers to the polling units before most of them started coming to perform their civic duty. Accreditation was manual, as the clerk poll confirmed the names of eligible voters on the voters' register book, cross-checked it with a voter's card, before issuing ballot papers to voters.
Everything has been going smoothly and well. I think we commend our ANSEC for a well-organized electoral process.
I mean, the way to summarize, things are very seamless, very smooth. It took me less than 1 minute to vote, and that's what has been happening.
I have voted my own, and the voting is going smoothly. People are turning out, they are coming out, and I feel that everything will move quietly.
Some voters shared their thoughts on the exercise.
We have a low turnout today for the local government and councillorship election, but people is still coming gradually, one, but the election was going fine. There is no problem.
There is not much people coming yet to come and vote.
No, I'm not impressed, but at least we are trying. People are not coming out. Even when they be telling them to come and vote, they say they don't know what is going on, but at least we appreciate the little people that come out and vote.
Meanwhile, Governor Charles Soludo, who voted at Ward 001, Unit 002 in Agwata Council area, said the exercise was peaceful across the local government areas of the state.
Getting an opinion poll or a mock election towards what happens next year. So for our administration, we're not taking it very lightly. And we've said it to ANSEC and to all Anambra people that this will be one huge example of a local government election that is conducted very transparently, creditably, and with all the, you can see people here lined up, everybody voting peacefully.
At the end of the voting exercise, the results from each of the polling units across the state will be announced by the returning officers and posted on the wall. Thereafter, official results from each of the local governments will be announced by the ANSEC chairman at the corporate head office of the Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission in Awka. In Awka for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
In what can be described as a significant push for political inclusion, Nigerians living abroad are demanding the right to participate in national elections. Despite making vital contributions to the country's economy through remittances and advocacy, their calls for enfranchisement have consistently been denied by authorities back home. In its efforts to deepen discussions on the subject matter, News Central hosted a high-profile town hall meeting in New York on the sidelines of the 79th United Nations General Assembly, where prominent citizens bear their minds on the issue. Our correspondent Chidima Ona tells us more.
News Central's town hall, which took place in New York, brought together key members of the Nigerian diaspora, political analysts and advocates for electoral reforms. The keynote speaker was renowned public policy expert and former Nigerian Minister of Education, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, who delivered a compelling address saying that granting Nigerians in the diaspora the right to vote is not only a matter of democratic justice, but also an essential part of ensuring broader citizen participation of the country's future.
What do you think the diaspora represents? The diaspora represents these three resources I just spoke about. The diaspora is an incredible community of people with all kinds of partnerships. Partnership gives you leverage beyond anything you can do by yourself. There are institutions, there are organizations, there are communities within the United States that a single Nigerian who's lived here and amongst them will quicker open the doors to than the ambassador that we have sent to the United States. So understanding that makes us look at our diaspora entirely differently. And in the sense that you have just heard, that educational attainment and success, professional success, that Nigerian diaspora are at the top of it, you can then imagine the quality of partnerships that they can unlock for the country. Okay? The quality of the partnership.
Speaking virtually from Nigeria, The Executive Chairman and CEO of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, acknowledged the growing momentum for diaspora voting rights, but highlighted the significant infrastructural and logistical barriers that remain, while providing details about the current status of the bill on diaspora voting in Nigeria.
INEC, severally, we have engaged with INEC numerous times, and INEC will tell you we're ready for diaspora voting. The former President Buhari, in fact, under President Obasanjo, he clamored for diaspora voting. The same thing with President Yaradua, the same thing with President Jonathan, and now the same thing with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So it's not enough to say we want it to happen. The parliament just has to amend the constitution to make it happen. And that is where all of us collectively will have to lobby parliamentarians, will have to lobby the National Assembly, because if they don't make it happen, then there's nothing we can do. Every one of us, let us lobby, let us work together, and for the diaspora, channel your energy to an issue like diaspora voting, not, about where we come from. Igbo is fighting Yoruba, we're arguing and abusing each other. Let's leave all that aside and channel energy to this issue of diaspora voting. And I believe that if everybody speaks collectively and demands of the National Assembly to amend the Constitution, it will be done.
Central to the conversation was the argument that Nigerians abroad, estimated to number in millions, should have the right to vote for their preferred candidate in Nigeria's general elections, a right they currently do not enjoy. Other speakers at the meeting also called for better leadership in Nigeria and more inclusivity for people in diaspora.
We have to go back and change what is called Nigeria. We don't have rulers in Nigeria. We make a mistake. We have rulers. What we have are rulers, not leaders. A leader will say, we are going somewhere. Then they will think of people they have left outside. They don't see you people as their own. They see you as people that can get something from. So we have to have leaders. What we have back there, they are not leaders. They are rulers.
A place like the United States of America or UK that sends in, look at diaspora remittance. We're talking about 20-something billion. How much is our budget? So when people from here are like, oh, no, I'm not going to, because things are good here. Let me tell you something. No matter what you do in America, in UK, you are a third-class citizen. That's the truth. Don't get it twisted. You are enjoying free electricity, having fun. You are eating all the burgers and all the rest. Of course, I came in America. I want to eat some very good African food and all. You guys are having fun and the rest of it. You are a third-class or fourth-class citizens. That's the truth. We need to look into our nation. Nigeria is bleeding. Things are going hey. That's the truth. Anybody that tells you that things are okay in Nigeria, you are a joker.
In wrapping up the meeting, the Managing Director and Editor-in-Chief of News Central TV, Kayode Akintemi, emphasized the critical importance of consistent efforts to effect the desired change in the country all Nigerians call home.
We are speaking the truth to power. We're speaking as much as we possibly can. But it is in your hands. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are in diaspora, if we set up an opportunity like this for you to come and be a part of it, and you don't seize it, then you have nobody to blame. You can't say the effort was not there. But this is just the beginning.
As Nigeria prepares for future elections, the voices of the diaspora are growing louder, and the push for enfranchisement is likely to become an even more prominent issue in the coming political circles. In Lagos for News Central, Chidimma Ona.
After the break, Kogi State Commissioner of Police urges youth to shelve planned protest. Join us again. Thank you for staying with us. It's over a year of economic reforms under President Bola Tinubu, and the verdict is as mixed as the optimism when it started. Though the country's headline inflation eased to 32.15% in August 2024, down from 33.40%, some people remain frustrated over persistent high prices of commodities. Our correspondent Lekon Obanjo brings us details in this report.
for now had been grappling with soaring double-digit inflation. This, coupled with a rising debt portfolio and a lean revenue, signaled the need for fiscal reforms to increase liquidity and slow down the economic decline. Nigerians seem to be caught in between the devil and the deep blue sea, from when President Bola Tinubu removed fuel subsidy and floated the naira, calling it tough choices to recalibrate the economy.
The economy was bleeding from the fuel subsidy regime because there's a lot of corruption, a lot of smuggling, and almost complete lack of transparency. And the government was losing a lot of revenue. But what was missing was steps that needed to, or steps that should have been taken to mitigate the consequences of those reforms. And I must confess to you, even as an economist, I never imagined that the impact of those reforms will be as devastating.
Consequently, prices of commodities hit an overdrive, tearing through the roof across board and denting the purchasing power of citizens.
I used to be able to go to the market with maybe 50,000. Now, no, even 100,000, you can't buy things with 100,000. Transportation also is affecting us. I don't know. That one too is crazy. And salaries are not going up. It's still the same thing. So it's affecting us.
When I'm coming back, I spent 1,000. But right now, going and coming back, I'm spending no less than 3,200. The business is totally bad now. We are not even seeing customers.
Series of intervention programs were introduced to mitigate the impact of the policies. However, administrative bottlenecks and poor implementation remain major concerns. In all these, the president pleads with citizens to be patient, saying the reforms are at the yielding curve.
This patience is getting beyond people's imagination now. It's getting too much. If the president is over there telling the Nigeria, lying to the Nigeria that we should be patient, and people are dying, let him come on the street now. Come and see how people are suffering.
We're already in it. So I guess there's nothing, we just really have no choice than to be patient, I guess.
Whatever reforms that we are putting in place, a lot of the reforms have taken a lot of resources away from the people into government. But what we need to be looking at is how whatever the citizens are losing out in terms of the reforms or in terms of the subsidy withdrawal is given back to the people directly.
Nigeria's inflation has eased to 32.15%, and President Bola Tinubu has continuously begged Nigerians to be patient with his economic policies, saying they will begin to reap the benefits of their sacrifices soon. With over 8 years of endurance in the previous administration, how soon is soon before the benefits begin to trickle in? In Lagos for News Central, Lekan Onobanjo.
The Kogi State Commissioner of Police, Bertrand Onuha, has advised those planning to stage a protest on October 1st to reconsider and give the government more time to address the nation's economic challenges. The commissioner made this appeal during an engagement with the executives of the Take It Back movement, Kogi State chapter, at the command headquarters in Lokoja. A statement issued in the early hours of Sunday by the police public relations officer, William Aya, stated that the commissioner of police advised the group to reconsider the planned protest and give the government more time to fix the economy. The leader of the group assured the commissioner of police that as enlightened and law-abiding youths in Kogi State, they would accept his advice and remain committed to the peace, progress and development of the state. Nigeria's federal government says that it will continue to provide every necessary support to the Nigerian Defense Academy in its quest to train top-tier officers expected to meet the needs of the nation's armed forces. And Vice President Kashim Shettima made this known at the 34th convocation ceremony for cadets of the 71 regular course of the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna State. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu shares more.
After 5 years of rigorous training, developing their physical endurance, intellectual abilities, and leadership potential for a successful military career, these cadets are now senior officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces. They are not alone, as cadets from the Republic of Sierra Leone also secured senior military badges, underscoring the role of Nigerian Defense Academy in international military cooperation.
I confer on all of you
Vice President Kashim Shettima, represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Defense, praised the cadets for their bravery and discipline throughout their training.
Nigeria as a whole has invested in them in the last 5 years to train them from cadets to now officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Nigeria as a country is proud of this institution, is equally proud of the kind of training that is given to these cadets. Nigeria will continue to support this institution in all aspects, be it human resources, as well as any equipment that is required to make sure that we produce the best officers for the Nigerian Armed Forces, that is, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force.
The Academy's commandant says that the graduating cadets were well trained and equipped with both academic and military skills meant to confront any complex security threat within and outside the country.
Our graduates are not just receiving degrees today, they are living with the tools and insights needed to confront the evolving threats of the modern world. We encourage our graduates to continue pushing the boundaries of knowledge, to remain curious and innovative, and to apply their expertise in service of the nation.
13 cadets graduated with first-class degrees in various disciplines. 199 earned second-class upper division, 271 achieved second-class lower division, while 71 graduated with third-class degrees. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Abubakar Umar, the sixth prosecution witness in the trial of the former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Soswam, has narrated before the Federal High Court, Maitama, Abuja, presided over by Justice Peter Alifo, how in 2014 he converted the sum of 3.1 billion naira wired to him by Soswam as governor. He said he delivered the equivalent of $15.8 million in cash to the former governor at his Maitama, Abuja residence. And this was revealed in a statement by the head of media and publicity of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Dele Oyewale. Soswam, alongside his then Commissioner of Finance, Omodachi Okolobia, facing 11-count amended charges of money laundering to the tune of 3.1 billion naira, being parts of the proceeds from the sales of the state government's shares held on its behalf by the Benue Investment and Property Company Limited, so through Elixir Securities Limited and Elixir Investment Partners Limited. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed Joseph Olasukomi Tegbe as Director General and Global Liaison for the Nigeria-China strategic partnership reached by the two countries during the president's visit in the early September. Tegbe, a 1988 first-class graduate in civil engineering from Obafemi Awolowo University, will report directly to the president. He will immediately submit a strategic action plan to enable Nigeria benefit from the agreements between the two countries in Beijing. As the czar of the strategic partnership, he will lead day-to-day operations, engage continuously with the Chinese counterpart, and ensure that all deliverables are met and synchronized with national development goals. And to a rather sad one, where the Ondo State Police Command on Sunday confirmed that a 35-year-old zoo worker at Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, Abeokuta, Babaji Dawale, was on Saturday killed by a lion. The spokesman for the State Police Command, Omolola Odutola, disclosed this in a statement sent to journalists on Sunday. The Bauchi state-born lion handler was said to have forgotten to secure the locks and barricade the lion's enclosure before approaching the cage to feed the animal. This reportedly allowed the lion to escape and attack the handler, resulting in injuries. The victim's body was said to have been removed and taken to the mortuary at Ijayi General Hospital, while the wild lion was shot to release its grip on the handler. And now to health matters. Let's tell you that 13 persons have been confirmed dead following a cholera outbreak in Ebonyi and Easy local government areas of Ebonyi State. Now 10 persons were confirmed dead from the disease a few days back. Briefing newsmen in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State Commissioner for Health, Moses Ekuma, said 3 more deaths have been recorded, about 69 cases reported. Akuma said that others affected are responding to treatments at the different treatment centers activated within the communities affected in Ebonyi and Easy local government areas. Open defecation and poor hygiene have been attributed to the outbreak of the disease as most communities get drinking water from streams. And thousands of Borno residents have returned home after severe flooding displaced them, and they are now seeking more government assistance. Meanwhile, the Ondo State Government Assessment Committee has begun evaluating the damage, stressing the urgent need for comprehensive recovery efforts. News Center's Umaru Kirawa shares more insights.
Scenes of buildings and infrastructure in Maiduguri, Jere and neighboring communities in Borno State. The flooding that ravaged these areas continues to cause the collapse of many buildings. Victims are urging authorities to act swiftly as they face increasingly desperate conditions. From 545 housing estate to Shehuri North and South, through Gamboru to the state low-cost housing areas, residents are struggling to cope with the widespread damage.
Da Allah Ubangiji ba su iko lungu suna shiga cikin ruwa, suna shiga gidajen da ya rushe, suna kokarin saukar da hakkin da gwamnati ta daura musu, kuma Allah ya daura musu. Kuma muna da roƙon gwamnati a yi kokari a sa effort saboda har yanzu sun suna kwana akan titi. Currently yanzu haka gida ya rushe. Nebo na ya rushe, gidana ya rushe.
The Borno State Government's Flood Relief Distribution Committee is conducting on-the-spot assessment to gather first-hand information for its response.
Canada gonyo nduya ya awarisha so ndena mare kamla ronzo maroba awarisha so na ala shiro ganazi kameras kamo ganazi imba da anna karo ande amlar rade chaman mai gaskima Canada gonyan ala isidia bara ala namnyen gilaro kaladin dien ala wandia wajiri arfun shimdero plezi.
The Shehu of Borno has advised the State's Relief Committee to ensure that necessary resources are delivered to help communities recover and rebuild.
Fitina ruyan so har samma ai mai salan kaman da rizo yanzu dawo ba man halinde mai sudin. Dai halinde do angal ginanyo. Dai aude wajin da jire da dia da gwamnati isu banan zudin. Aude sun zubana. The
expectation of the affected flood communities in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, as well as Jere, among other communities, are very high. And the government says it will do what it can to support them, rebuild their houses, and pick up the pieces of their lives.
We are going to make the recommendation based on whatever we verify. It will be submitted to the investment, and then the investment will make the disbursement. Ours is only to ensure that the names, the houses, the account number, and the telephone number really correspond. Ours is to verify that there is nobody that is going to claim on somebody's property. Ours is to verify that actual damage that is being done is already recorded, so that we want to put smiles in the faces of our people.
The committee has begun verifying over 7,000 flood victims, but the challenge remains ensuring the government can reach all those affected by the disaster. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Coming up, 6 dead from Marburg viral disease in Rwanda. We have details shortly. Join us again. Thank you for staying with us. The news continues in East Africa, where the health ministry in Rwanda has confirmed the death of 6 people from an outbreak of Marburg virus, a highly infectious hemorrhagic fever similar to Ebola. The highly virulent microbe causes severe fever, often accompanied by bleeding and organ failure. According to a health minister, Sabin and Sazimana, some 20 patients were being treated of the illness. According to him, those infected and the deceased were mainly health workers, adding that efforts were underway to trace and test those who had come in contact with them. A medical source told reporters that 48 people have been killed in 2 days of raids by Sudanese paramilitaries on the Darfur city of El Fasher, following international calls for an end to the nation's sufferings. According to a medical source at El Fasher Teaching Hospital, the paramilitary forces and the regular army continue to battle for control of North Darfur's capital. Artillery fire from the rapid support forces killed 30 people and wounded many others on Friday alone. And in Southern Africa, presidential candidates from Botswana's different political parties have submitted their nominations to Chief Justice Terence T. Ranowin of the High Court in Gaborone ahead of the general election set for October 30th. President Mogwetsi Masisi, who is standing for a second 5-year term, said October 30 and 31st would be public holidays to allow people vote in large numbers. Botswana is a multi-party democracy that holds general elections every 5 years. The ruling Botswana Democratic Party, BDP, has been in power since independence from Britain in 1966.
Less than 998 authenticated support papers, namely Dr. Mopeti Erika Betumasisi of PO Box 5, Moshopa. I now wish to invite you to hand me your symbols, your colors, so excellency.
And assured and confident. We complied with everything. And you know, people might be electoral based why we were early. For democratic change.
In South Africa, 17 people were killed in a devastating mass shooting in Eastern Cape, with 3 others critically injured. The incident occurred in Yathi village, Ngobazona, Lusikisiki, where victims believed to be relatives and neighbors were shot dead in the homestead. 13 victims, including 12 women and 1 man, were found in one house, while 4 more were discovered in another homestead. In total, 15 women and 2 men lost their lives. The thieves alleged that the victims were preparing for a traditional ritual scheduled for Saturday to mark the end of mourning for a mother and daughter murdered a year ago. The 3 injured survivors are currently fighting for their lives in the hospital. And in North Africa, Egyptian authorities have refused to release dissident Alaa Abdel Fattah, despite serving out his 5-year sentence, the sister said on Sunday. Abdel Fattah was arrested on September 29, 2019. Just over 2 years later, he was handed a 5-year sentence for spreading false news by sharing a Facebook post about police brutality. His family on Thursday urged the government of Britain, while Abdel Fattah holds citizenship, to ensure his release this weekend. But on Sunday, his sister, Mona Saif, said in a video posted on social media that authorities refused to request to reconsider the 2 years of pre-trial detention as time served towards his sentence. And still ahead, protests erupt in Indian-administered Kashmir following Hezbollah's chief's death. We have details shortly. Join us again. Hundreds of protesters are demonstrating in the Magam district of Kashmir following the killing of Hezbollah leader of Hassan Nasrallah in an Israeli airstrike on Lebanon. Across the region, thousands turned out to mourn Nasrallah and to condemn Israel and the United States. According to the protesters, America and Israel are allegedly spreading propaganda that they killed a big terrorist.
पूरी दुनिया सोगवार है। पूरी दुनिया में सफ़े मातम उस वक़्त बिछ गया जब कल ये खबर सोशल मीडिया के ज़रिए गर्दिश कर गई कि हिज़्बुल्लाह के चीफ इन कमांड सैयद हसन नसरुल्लाह को कल एयर स्ट्राइक के ज़रिए बीरूत में इसराइल ने शहीद कर दिया। तो उसी वक्त से पूरी मुस्लिम उम्मा न सिर्फ शिया बल्कि अहले सुन्नत बरादरी भी पूरी दुनिया में सोगवार हो गई और सफ़े मातम बिछ गया। अमेरिका और इसराइल ये प्रोपेगेंडा कर रहा है कि देखिए हमने नौजुबिल्लाह दुनिया के बड़े टेररिस्ट को आज कत्ल किया। फिर ये पूरी दुनिया में मातम क्यों है? पूरी दुनिया इसकी शहादत पे क्यों रो रही है? क्या कभी ऐसा दुनिया में हुआ है कि अगर किसी टेररिस्ट को मारा जाए तो फिर पूरी दुनिया सफ़े मातम भी जाए?
Hamas condemned the killing of Hezbollah after the Lebanon-based group confirmed his death in an Israeli strike on South Beirut a day earlier. Hamas in a statement offered condolences and solidarity with Hezbollah, describing it as a cowardly terrorist act. Hamas deputy leader Khalil al-Hayya added that the killing of Nasrallah will be the stage of scared revenge.
اغتيال الاحتلال الصهيوني الأخ المجاهد الكبير السيد حسن نصر الله وإخوانه من قادة الحزب هو عمل إرهابي مكتمل الأركان وانتهاك لسيادة لبنان وتوسيع لدائرة عدوانه، ويتحمل الاحتلال مسؤوليته وتداعياته، ولن يفلح في كسر إرادة المقاومة الباسلة، بل سيكون عنوان مرحلة من مراحل الثأر المقدس لكل الدماء النازفة. إننا وقد خبرنا إخواننا في حزب الله لواثقون من قدرتهم على سرعة ترتيب صفوفهم والاستمرار في قيادته على ذات النهج الذي سار به سماحة السيد حسن نصر الله.
Israel Army Chief Herzi Halevi says the military is determined to continue striking and destroying Hezbollah, which he described as a terrorist organization. And this follows the killing of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah in a strike on the southern suburbs of Beirut on Friday evening.
נסראללה הרג אזרחים ישראלים ללא הבחנה. הוא רצה שהמלחמה הזאת תסתיים בהשמדת מדינת ישראל. אנחנו דאגנו שזה לא יקרה. אותו הרגנו ואנחנו נמשיך להתחזק. אנחנו נחושים להמשיך ולהשמיד את ארגון הטרור חיזבאללה. אנחנו נחושים להמשיך להילחם. כוחות צה"ל נמצאים במוכנות שיא, בהגנה ובהתקפה.
Women protested in Mexico City in defense of abortion rights on International Safe Abortion Day. The women who clashed with police during the demonstration said the day is a reminder of the importance of mobilizing the agenda for the right to choose for legal, safe and free abortion. They said the goal is to remove abortion from the penal code, as this is both necessary and socially important.
Bueno, para mí es importante estar hoy aquí representándome a mí misma, representando la libertad de mi cuerpo, de que yo soy una persona que decide por sí misma, que no permite que otras personas decidan, y para dar gracias y resignificar todo el trabajo que otras mujeres han hecho para la libertad de nuestras propias cuerpos. Y porque este día justo es un recordatorio de la importancia de movilizar nuestra agenda por el derecho a decidir, por el aborto legal y seguro y gratuito, pero también para seguir posicionando la importancia de la despenalización del aborto, tanto de manera legal como de manera social.
Pero hace falta mucho. Lo que queremos es que el aborto salga del Código Penal, porque de esa forma se despenalizaría totalmente, socialmente, ya daría el mensaje de que un procedimiento médico va a ser tratado como eso y no como una conducta.
Reigning Nigeria Premier Football League champion Rangers International of Enugu will be looking to burst Remo Stars' bubble when the both of them meet on Sunday in Ikenne in a match week 4 fixture. Rangers won their first game of the season away at Ikorodu City midweek and will be looking for another win away for the second game in a row and in the southwestern part of Nigeria, but they face a side that is keen on extending its perfect start to the season.
For another assignment, not for the match in the weekend. I already know how they play, but at least seeing what they do today again, I'm able to see the dynamics they have. And unfortunate for them, they have a red card in one of maybe their best player. So there's little or nothing more to see than all I've seen. But I'm here for a different mission. We want it to be our season. We're fighting to make it be our season. We've been there for... We've had a glimpse of it for 3 seasons now. So this time we want to have it. I think it will be an icing on the cake for us.
British #1 Jack Draper is out of the Japan Open after retiring from his quarter-final. The 23-year-old lost the first set 7-5 and trailed 2-1 in the second against Francis Ugo Humbert in Tokyo. The world #20 Draper took the medical timeout early in the second set to receive treatment on his abdominal area. He tried to continue before retiring. After vomiting on court 3 times during the match, he said he would really look into his sickness issues, although it is not known whether the problem in Tokyo is related. Meanwhile, Humbert will now face Czech Republic's Tomáš Mačák on Monday for a place in the final. And Bayern Munich have said examinations on striker Harry Kane's injured ankle showed a positive development ahead of Wednesday's Champions League clash against Aston Villa. Kane limped off with 4 minutes remaining in Bayern's 1-1 home draw with Bayer Leverkusen on Saturday. The 31-year-old, who has a history of ankle injuries, was seen clutching at his lower leg after a collision with Leverkusen's Amni Adil. In a statement, Bayern said Kane suffered a painful blow to his ankle, but added examinations by medical department on Sunday showed a positive development as Kane will continue to receive intensive treatment. Kane has been in great form for Bayern this season. He has scored 10 goals in 7 games in all competitions, including scoring 4 in Bayern's Champions League opener. The draw for the 6th King Slam, a new exhibition event led by Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, has been reviewed. The tournament will be held from October 16 to 19 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Fans will have to wait to see Nadal and Djokovic in action as the 2 titans of the sport have received a bye into the semi-finals. The remaining 4 contenders, Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, Daniil Medvedev, and Holger Rune will first duke it out in the quarterfinals on the first day of the event on October 16. Alcaraz will take on Rune first as the 2 haven't crossed paths since the former beat the latter en route to the Wimbledon title last year. The winner of the match will secure a date with 22-time major champion Nadal. And that's all on the news. Let's take a look again at some of the major stories. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has derided Rivers State Governor Fubara's camp for defecting to All People's Party. 6 have died from Marburg viral disease in Rwanda. We also told you that Egypt has refused to free jailed activist Ala Abdel Fattah over false news propagation. You can watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adedugba.